Hi Pete 7501 students. Here I am again, Dr. Irwin. I'm going to give you kind of an example of what to do for your video PowerPoint presentation number 1 that is going to be due at the end of week 9, specifically Sunday, March 19th for this particular class. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just go through exactly what you probably should do. I'm going to give you an example of it. You can obviously use your own hot topic, but kind of use the video description, PowerPoint presentation description that I gave you, as well as the rubric that I posted on eCourseWare as well, to guide how you're going to put it together. Remember, it should only be 10 minutes, so you're going to have to time it. You may have to practice it a couple of times in order to get it somewhere in between 9 and 11 minutes. Okay, 10 minutes is perfect, but if you go a little bit over or a little bit under a minute each way, you're not going to be, you won't have any points deducted. So hopefully you've already gotten your YouTube channel and you know how to upload to YouTube. If you have any problems with that, let me know. Use a script if possible, just write it out with general thoughts, or even word for word if you want to. It kind of helps a little bit as you go through it, and also keeps you on time. And then try to use a pleasant PowerPoint design. I know most of the time that when I do PowerPoints I use just the black and white, but for this presentation you want to try to make your PowerPoint look good, and you should look good too. You should have some sort of professional clothing on, whether and not like a workout t-shirt. So this is part of your graduate expectations. You should look good for presentations, and you should be able to do presentations well. Also, getting back to the PowerPoint, make sure that you don't use animated clip art much. You can use some clip art if you want to, as long as it's relevant. And then try to keep the text on each slide very short and very simple. And as you go through my example, I want you to kind of look at it. Sometimes you can't help but have a lot of text, and that's okay for this particular presentation. But for the most part, it should really only be about 6 to 8 words per bullet point on every single slide. But we're going to go through it right now. I'm going to pretend I'm going to be you and just follow along. Okay, welcome. You're watching the PowerPoint presentation, Secondary Physical Education Teachers Burnout. That's my hot topic. I'm Carol Irwin. And the research question that I have for this particular PowerPoint presentation is, what variables are associated with secondary physical education teachers becoming unmotivated to maintain positive, effective teaching behaviors? Okay, my motivation to answer the research question is I have been a secondary physical education teacher in the past. I have seen other secondary physical education teachers come and go. Many start out motivated and then they just burn out and move on to other careers. High school students need physical activity. During high school, they need it in order to be successful actually during. So you have to have quality physical education teachers. Also, high school students absolutely need fitness information to be successful adults. So we want to give them this information in order to help them, as well as really overall society. So what can be done to change this pattern? All right, so the major subtopics for my hot topic, the secondary PE teacher burnout, what I've found through looking at all the different pieces of literature, I found that there are really 3 major subtopics underneath my big topic, my hot topic. And that's emotional exhaustion, depersonalization, and lack of personal accomplishment. I've kind of taken all of what I've read and been able to realize it's really 3 major overarching subtopics that feed into what burns out secondary physical education teachers. Emotional exhaustion has to do with how education in general has become so much more complex. No Child Left Behind started it. We have a lot of extra duties now as teachers and principals too, but we're focusing in on secondary PE teachers, and we do have more. Work-life family balance is way off because of that. And then all the assessments we have to do now, not only with the standardized testing, but we're expected to do assessments as well. So all of this feeds into emotional exhaustion. The second one, depersonalization, has to do with how PE is a marginalized subject. It's just not a core curricular course according to No Child Left Behind. It's not. It's a non-tested subject, so because of that, we become very marginalized. We're not important, and because our subject isn't important, that means we as teachers aren't very important. That we're marginalized, and we become the gym teacher. And a lot of people like that term, and they're okay with that term. But a lot of people are starting to realize that that is part of our marginalization. We're not teaching the gym, we're teaching students. So gym teacher sometimes helps give us that kind of depolarization from all the other core curriculum courses. Okay, and then lack of personal accomplishment. That is a lot of times we just don't have a lot of personal accomplishments because of this marginalization of our subject. And also, coaching is a really big, important part of secondary physical education. And sometimes coaching is more important than teaching, which, really kind of is part of the whole process of I'm not going to care about teaching because I'm going to care more about coaching. So that coaching teacher role conflict is very confusing a lot of times and can cause burnout. Okay, here's a highlight of one subtopic, and I'm going to take a time out here real quick just to make sure that you understand. Go over 3 major, pieces of literature that you found that goes under your major subtopic. Just pick out 3 that you think are really, really important. Put the APA style citation up here, and then just a brief, quick, fast. This was the major finding, and then another one, quick, fast, major finding. A third piece of literature that feeds into this emotional exhaustion, and again, just major findings. So this one, it was done in Greece, so it's kind of like everywhere has secondary teacher burnout. So you can kind of talk about it's not just a U.S. issue; it's a worldwide issue. Here is one about lifers and troopers in an urban setting, and how an urban setting can also magnify the burnout effect. And then this one is about how we could help with the emotional exhaustion. And this is more continued professional development as well as preparing undergrads for this situation when they're getting ready to graduate and go into a PE teacher role. Okay, so I'm going to go through this just real quick. So you have highlight of one subtopic, then the next slide is going to be exactly the same as the first one, except you're going to be using your next subtopic, which is depersonalization. And then the third subtopic would be the next slide. And for my subtopic was lack of personal accomplishments. So again, I would just find 3 major literature pieces and just break them down like I did on that very first slide about the subtopics. Okay. All right. So I'm going to move forward now to this one. The next slide is my hypothesis about the research question. What's my best guess that will answer my research question? So what I do here is I look at the research question again, and after reviewing all the articles that I have so far, and as well as I'm still using my personal anecdotal information, just my one and only experiences on what I think secondary PE teachers burn out because of. So after reviewing the literature, after still thinking about my experiences, I believe my best guess is that the major variables that will emerge from my research question, my study, would be that the extra duties assigned just totally screw up that work-life family balance. lack of respect for physical education, and then finally that coach-teacher role conflict was really big, not only in the literature, but also with me too. So you can kind of talk about that. Okay, and the closing comments, the very, very last slide would be, so what? I love asking this question all the time to graduate students who are thinking about getting into, different research patterns. So why are you researching this particular topic? So what? What's the big deal? And the so what question is, why is this research so important, basically? And my so what statement would be, I hope this research will help to uncover some strategies to help current secondary physical education teachers and future secondary physical education teachers to strive to be great teachers as well as great coaches. And thank you for listening. And then you just end it there. And hopefully it's been about 10 minutes. If you do it on your phone, you'll have the timer on the phone as you are doing it, so you can kind of gauge how much time you have left. And so doing it on the phone is real easy. Plus then you can just end it and immediately upload it into YouTube, to your YouTube channel. So that's my example. Hope you kind of got a general idea of what to do. And if you have any questions, let me know. Talk to you later. Bye.